Afternoon. It is ridiculously hot today. I'm sweating just sitting in this room. So when we get a few more people on, I'm going to talk about the upcoming Carabao Cup fixtures. We're going to have a brief chat about last weekend's or this weekend just gone's results. And go from there. There was some interesting results at the weekend. I've got one person on. Say hello in the comments. Hello. One person on by the looks of it. Just Angelina on my live stream at the moment. We'll just have a personal chat, shall we? Yeah, it was a short notice stream. I was meant to be on holiday this week, but as we cut our holiday short, I thought I'd come on the live. So I'm not sure how many people are going to tune in. It was short, spur of the moment. WLB is on as well. Hello. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I did say my next live stream was going to be Friday, as we were supposed to be on holiday this week up until tomorrow. We did cut the holiday short, so that means it's opened up a couple of days for me to go to a couple of fixtures. So I'm just looking at the fixtures for the next couple of days. It looks like I'm going to be going to Quorn's Stotto Stadium. Who did Barwell beat? I know they won 3-2. I can't remember who they beat. Did they play St. Ives? St. Ives, I thought it was, yeah. Great win that, because I think St. Ives are going to be down towards the bottom of the table, and Barwell are undoubtedly going to be in the bottom half, I think. But like I said to you last time, I think they are going to stay up this season. So that's the sort of teams you need to be beating. It was a really poor start for Hereford. We got beaten 2-0 at Spennymoor on the opening day. I was in Scotland. I was at Inverness Caledonian Thistle against Peterhead in the wind. It was very windy, that one. Yeah, so like I said at the start, this was not a planned live stream. We were supposed to come back from Scotland tomorrow. The hotel was horrendous, just so noisy, couldn't get any sleep. So we made the decision to make the 9-hour journey yesterday. So set off around 10 a.m. Took about nearly 9 hours worth of traveling and stops. Got home at 8:30 last night. So I thought I'd do a live stream today, just talking about the weekend's fixtures and going over the Carabao Cup ones. And also that's opened my schedule up for a couple of games that I can go to. So I'll be starting my Southern League Premier Central series tomorrow instead of at the end of the month. And I'll be headed to Quorn against Stourbridge. I know quite a lot of people that work at Quorn. I also know the goalkeeper at Stourbridge. So that should be a really good game to go to. So let's have a look at the weekends. What do we think the standout results were from the Football League, the National League, Southern League, Premier Central, any league really? Because I may not know much about the leagues below Step 3, but if you've got a result that you think stands out, mention it in the comments. Let's talk about it. So for me, the standout result of the weekend was at Bramall Lane. Who expected Bristol City to beat Sheffield United 4-1 away from home, particularly after the playoff hammerings that they got and 3-0 defeats, 6-0 on aggregate? Who saw that one coming? I thought we'd have maybe a bit of a drop off with Sheffield United with Chris Wilder leaving, but I mean, yeah, I didn't expect that start to the season. Sheffield United 1, Bristol City 4. Any other results that stand out to anyone? I think Exeter City had a great result. I was speaking to someone at Exeter the other day who said that they always lose to Blackpool, and they beat them 4-1 at St James's Park. Great result for Exeter. Great result for Doncaster Rovers as well, winning away at Mansfield, which means Doncaster Rovers have gone into League One and won their first 2 games. Beaten Exeter, beaten Mansfield. Can Doncaster go up again? Can they compete at the top end of League One? There are 6 teams who have started off League One with 2 wins. Huddersfield, Barnsley, Stockport, Luton, Stevenage, Doncaster. Great results. And then we've got 6 of them at the bottom: Mansfield, Wycombe, Peterborough, Blackpool, Plymouth and Reading. And I did not expect Plymouth to be struggling as much as they have. I know it's early days yet. So some interesting results at the weekend. I was at Inverness Caledonian Thistle and they beat Peterhead 2-0. That was a interesting game. I don't think my wife was too keen with the wind blowing in on us. I also thought Crystal Palace against Liverpool was a fantastic result. I thought Crystal Palace would beat Liverpool, beat them on penalties. So Palace have now won 3 times at Wembley in the last few months. And then Sheffield Wednesday, fair play to them, fielding a team at Leicester. Braintree 3, Halifax Town 0. Yeah, what a result that is. What a result that is. Braintree 3, Halifax Town 0. Wouldn't have seen that coming. I think I had Braintree going down and I had Halifax Town going in the playoffs. Let's go down to the National League. But also, not only that, we got Sutton United getting a result at York. Football Addict, great to have you on the stream. Thanks for joining. Bristol City will win the league. Well, if they play like that every week, then what's going to stop them? Potentially Sheffield United away is the hardest fixture in that league, right? And they went and smashed it 4-1. Be honest, though, did you expect Bristol City to win that game? Did you expect them to win it at all, let alone 4-1? I had Braintree going down, Halifax 7th. Yeah, that was same as me. Braintree going down, Halifax maybe 6th, maybe 7th. I can't remember which way I put them round. Footy predictions. Hello, thanks for joining. Good to have you on the stream again. Thought it'd be a draw. Yeah, and to be honest, even a draw at Bramall Lane is optimistic, isn't it, really? Like I say, it's probably the hardest place to go, and they've gone there and smashed them. Was there any bigger results than that, or have Bristol City gone top straight away? I don't think there were, was there? I think Bristol City are top. Footy predictions said Sheffield United would win 6-1. If you'd told me there was a chance of Sheffield United winning 6-1 or Bristol City winning 4-1, I would have gone Sheffield United 6-1 as more likely, in all honesty. And that just shows what a fantastic result that is for Bristol City. What a great result. In the National League, Scunthorpe getting off to a winning start. Brackley getting off to a winning start. Truro lost to Wealdstone. I think it's going to be a very long season for Truro. Yeah, but who would have predicted Bristol City winning it? Sheffield United. It happens. I have Scunthorpe to get to Wembley. Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me at all. I think it's going to be a step too far for them at this point. I think it won't be long before they are following Oldham back into the Football League. But I think Scunthorpe are going to finish just outside the playoffs. But it's underrated how difficult it is to win at Tamworth. Dagenham 0, Ebbsfleet 2. Yes, that one as well is a big shock result. Everyone thought, and let's face it, we still think Dagenham are going to win that league. But who would have thought Ebbsfleet go to Dagenham and win 2-0? Did Apaya, he did score, didn't he? Kwesi Apaya, that they signed from Boreham Wood, he got the first one. So National League North, Chesham United winning away at Maidenhead. Great result. Chloe Kelly or Hannah Hampton should win the Women's Ballon d'Or. Well, I mean, they're European champions, aren't they? I don't really know who's up for nomination in the Ballon d'Or. Is the women's at the same time as the men's? I'm not sure he should win the men's either, really. Donnarumma, maybe? So we've also got, I will be doing a live stream on Friday, which is going to talk more about the upcoming fixtures at the weekend. So we'll talk more about the Premier League on Friday. But who's excited for the start of the Premier League season? I mean, I am. I prefer non-league football in all honesty. But who do we think is going to win the Premier League title? Did I know Bristol City once beat Barcelona? No, I didn't know that. One of very few English teams to beat Barcelona, probably. On Wednesday, I'm coming back to the UK. Where are you now then, football addict? 2 votes. 3 votes for Liverpool. I think that's unanimous, really. In Turkey. Nice. Istanbul? Three votes for Liverpool to win the title. I genuinely think that Arsenal are going to win the title. But I've said that for the last 2 seasons. Is that Fetty? Yeah. All inclusive. I love all inclusive, but yeah, I just put on too much weight when it's all inclusive. I can't stop eating. You should see my, if you've seen my matchday vlogs, you know how much I like a burger. Yeah. Oh, the women's team beat Barcelona. That was recent then. Yeah, chips are always good. They didn't have a burger at Inverness Caledonian Thistle, so I had to have a hot dog, and it was massive. It was just a standard Frankfurter, but you know, I really enjoyed it. What about Merthyr winning their first game in the National League North as well? Merthyr 2, Southport 0. I think Southport are going to be one of the strugglers. Chorley winning at Darlington. Buxton beat Radcliffe. Bedford Town getting a draw on the opening day. Have a soft spot for Merthyr. I think, yeah, I do as well, being Welsh, and I believe Footy Predictions is Welsh as well. So we probably both share that soft spot for Merthyr. Hereford are sitting 23rd at the moment. We're, I mean, it's only 1 game in. And had Southport not conceded that late goal, we would be at the bottom. We would be sat bottom. But it's, yeah, Lewis 90 plus 5 that prevented us from dropping right to the bottom of the table. Big soft spot for Merthyr and Hereford, yes. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I thought you'd said so earlier. The best nation on the planet. I love Wales. When do I see Macclesfield returning to the Football League? I would have, before Robbie Savage took those players with him, I would have said National League next season and then maybe Football League in a further 3 or 4. But I think they're going to get stuck in the National League North for a while. Let's say 2-3 seasons at National North, then it takes even longer. So Football League, 7-8 years maybe. It's very hard to go up from the National League North. I think we'll see Scunthorpe in the Football League a lot sooner than we see Macclesfield in it. And Macclesfield will be in the Football League before we are, as a Hereford fan. So what games do we have this week then? There's not a lot going on today. I'm just scrolling BBC Sport as well while I'm doing this. We have Champions League qualifiers. It's the 3rd qualifying round. How many qualifying rounds are there for the Champions League? I see Scunthorpe being in the Championship in 10 years. I have a big soft spot for Scunny. Yeah, they were in the Championship before, weren't they? They were in the Championship before. 5, is that 5, 4 qualifying rounds? Is it something like 3 qualifying rounds in a playoff round? I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure what they do with it anymore. Because since the format changed, it's got 4 qualifying rounds and playoff round. Do they call the first one like a preliminary round or something then? Because, yeah, looking at this third qualifying round, there's loads of ties. There's Carabao against Skendia. Oh, these are second leg matches. Fenerbahce against Feyenoord. Copenhagen against Malmo. Paphos against Dynamo Kiev. I thought Paphos were going to beat Dynamo Kiev in the first leg. Wilson against Rangers, but Rangers are 3-0 up, so they're probably going through. Be good to see 2 Scottish sides in that league phase this season. Club Bruges 1-0 up against Salzburg. Ferencváros against Ludogorets. So there was a guy that I used to know who was he was a carer for a deaf guy that I grew up with, and he went off to play for Ferencváros. There's a guy called Mika Katia. I think he might have played for Dynamo Kiev as well. Opinion on Crystal Palace news. I think Nottingham Forest are up to something. I think Crystal Palace have had their appeal rejected, haven't they? So I think Crystal Palace have been confirmed that they're in the Conference League, and Forest will be in the Europa League. We've got Slovan Bratislava against Kairat. Where are Kairat from? Benfica against Nice, Red Star against Lech Poznan. And then obviously we've got a load of Carabao Cup games. Kazakhstan. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought it was probably from somewhere around there, like, Armenia, Kazakhstan. They're all like Georgian teams. They all kind of sound quite similar. So Carabao Cup then, we've got tomorrow. We've got the first one of the games is Swansea City against Crawley Town. Forest donated money to Lyon. Was that to save them from going bust or something? 3-0 Swansea. I think that's reasonable. Swansea batter Crawley. The trouble is with the Carabao Cup, and the only thing I think with the Carabao Cup, when we get a few shock results, so to speak, in the Carabao Cup, is there's a lot of teams that don't see it as important. So we could see like a Swansea team fielding loads of under-21 players. But I still think they're still strong enough to beat Crawley, aren't they? We've then got Barrow against Preston. Now that's a long way for Preston to travel on a Tuesday night, but I think Preston probably beat Barrow, don't they? What are we thinking in the chat? Shock predictions: 2-1 Barrow, 1-0 Barrow, 3-1 Preston. Yeah, I could see a shock up there. I could see a shock. I've been to Barrow. We went a few years ago. I didn't go to the ground, but I think we saw the ground on the way. Barrow-in-Furness is a really nice place. Middlesbrough against Doncaster. Can Doncaster do it again? They won at Mansfield. They beat Exeter. They've started off the season with 6 points from a possible 6. Can they go and stun Middlesbrough? 2-0 Middlesbrough. Doncaster win on penalties. I tell you what, though, the Carabao Cup is so hard to predict for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Then we have Newport County against Millwall. I can see either Newport County beating Millwall on penalties or Millwall hammering them 3 or 4-0. 3-1 to Millwall. 3-0 to Millwall. So fairly confident that Millwall are coming through that one. Stockport County against Crewe. Now, I think that one could have a shock written on it, just for the simple reason that I don't think Stockport are going to be that fussed on the Carabao Cup. I think they've got a real fight to get promotion to the Championship on their hands, so I wouldn't be surprised if they field a weaker team. So I think Crewe might win that. The chat is disagreeing with me. They've both gone for Stockport County so far. And then we've got Accrington Stanley against Peterborough United. Strugglers in League 2 against potential strugglers in League 1. Stockport's home shirt is diabolical. Gonna have to have a look at that. Posh win on penalties. Peterborough win 3-1. Blackburn Rovers against Bradford City. I looked at tickets for one of these EFL Cup games because Northampton are playing Southampton tomorrow night. I looked at tickets for that and I tried to log in and it said I couldn't buy any because my account wasn't old enough. Do you know what Peterborough's mascots are called? Peterborough, Mick the Skip, and I forgot the other one. I don't know. So we've got 1-0 Blackburn, 2-1 Bradford. Blackburn against Bradford. 3-0 to Bradford. Again, it wouldn't surprise me too much in the Carabao Cup. We've not got PVFC Life on tonight, have we? Because the next one is Blackpool against Port Vale. And Blackpool will go into this one desperately needing to get something after a really poor start to the league. Blackpool against Port Vale. I can see Vale winning that one. I can see Port Vale taking the win there. 2-1 Port Vale, 2-1 Port Vale. I think you're in agreement on that one. Port Vale to win. Vale win 1-0. Yeah, everyone's sharing the same. I think everyone expects Port Vale to win. So this one's of interest to at least one of you. Bristol City against MK Dons. I wouldn't want to face Bristol City right now. I wouldn't want to face Bristol City after that thrashing of Sheffield United. I think MK Dons could be on the end of a heavy one here. 1-0 Bristol, says WLB. 20-0 City. Struber is a genius. To make up for my bad prediction, 4-1 to Bristol City. Yeah, I think it's difficult to predict anything other than a Bristol City win. I think 20-0 might be a little unlikely, but we'll see. They were on form, weren't they, at Sheffield United? It doesn't sound like Sheffield United were that bad either. We've then got two of the teams that came down from League One. We've got Bristol Rovers against Cambridge United. And I think those two are going to be prioritising the league. I can see Cambridge United winning that one. 3-1 to the Gas. The draw hasn't been made for the second round, has it? They don't do it in advance. Because it'd be so good to see if a Bristol City, Bristol Rovers game in round 2. Rovers 2-1. We then have Cardiff City against Swindon Town. And I have to say, Cardiff, despite the fact that they're unbeaten from the first 2 games, I think they were fortunate to get anything from those 2 games. They drew at Vale Park and they beat Peterborough. 0-1 Cambridge beat the Scum. Humble them. Neil Harris Brexit ball helps the mighty Cambridge win. Come on, Cambridge and Rovers non-league is that way. Yeah, there was, when I made my prediction for League 2, I put Bristol Rovers in the League 2 playoffs. And a load of people, Bristol Rovers fans included, said, why have you put us that high? We're not going to be anywhere near the top of the table. So a lot of Rovers fans aren't confident either. How did they get on in the start of the season, actually? What's the League 2 table looking like? I don't really look at the table that much this stage in the season because it's just too early. Barnet are at the bottom. Oh, they have lost their opening 2 fixtures, Bristol Rovers. That's not looking good. 20th. 2-1 Cardiff beat Holloway. And how good a tie is this? Charlton Athletic against Stevenage in the Carabao Cup. Now that's a derby. But there's also another one, Chesterfield against Mansfield Town. And I know that is pure hatred, that derby. Charlton against Stevenage and Chesterfield against Mansfield Town. Charlton to win 3-0. Yeah, a lot of people have predicted Charlton to go down from the Championship. But looking at their squad and the signings they've brought in, I actually fancy Charlton to finish quite comfortably in the middle of the table. I don't think Charlton are going to struggle. I don't think any of the teams that came up to the Championship are going to struggle. Will Barnet be the first team who get relegated to get promotion from non-league and get relegated the season after? I had Barnet 17th. It's not looking good because they haven't lost to the best teams either, have they? They've lost to the sort of average sides in the league. No, I don't think they will go down. I actually had Barnet first, and that's kind of looking like it's going to come back to get me now. But who knows? They might get off to a bad start and then still go and win it. We know League Two is going to be close. I think Charlton will stay up. I have Charlton 21st. I think I had them 17th or 18th. I think they're going to be comfortable. Charlton are looking good in the Championship. Coventry City against Luton is a repeat of the playoff final a few years ago. And we've got Gillingham against Wickham as well. Gillingham against Wimbledon, sorry. We got Grimsby Town against Shrewsbury Town. 2-1 Coventry. Yeah, I think Coventry will probably beat Luton. Luton are probably going to bounce back, aren't they, this season? 2-1 Coventry. Yeah, most people predicting a Coventry win. Grimsby to beat Shrewsbury 3-0. Yeah, Shrewsbury, I think, are probably going to be the worst of the 4 sides that came down to League Two. Hereford used to have a rivalry with Shrewsbury, but I think when we reformed, we went bankrupt and reformed. I just think Shrewsbury are too far ahead of us. I mean, it's only 2 leagues now, but we haven't really had the rivalry with Shrewsbury for years. So I don't think they even see us as a rival anymore. I think it's the same with Cheltenham. I mean, we're just about getting the rivalry with Kidderminster back. Did I know that Pep Guardiola has never managed an Italian player? Has he not? I'm trying to think now if there's any Italian players that Pep Guardiola has managed. Maybe they don't suit his play style? Surely he's managed an Italian player at some point in his career. No, that's an interesting stat. That's the sort of stat that I like. The geekier, the better. We got Harrogate Town against Lincoln City. Watched a short by Hrubitsak, and he said that he hadn't. That is quite an impressive stat, really, with so many Italian players and so many clubs that he's managed. WLB says Lincoln to win 1-0. Hot take, San Marino win the World Cup. Yeah, why not? Footy prediction says 2-1 to Lincoln. Yeah, I think so. Leyton Orient against Wickham. Should be a good one, that one. Orient against Wickham. 2 of the sides that were top end of the table last season. Orient made the playoff final. Obviously, Wickham didn't, even though Wickham win the promotion places for quite a while. 2-1 to Wickham. And another hot take, Ukraine win the 28 Euros and 2030 World Cup. Who knows? Hopefully Ukraine will do well in that. 1-0 to Wickham. Then we've got the game that I tried to get tickets for, Northampton Town against Southampton. You'd think that was a derby, but it's really not. Southampton's way down on the coast and Northampton's not too far from me. It's Southampton. 3-0 Southampton. Yeah, I think Southampton are probably going to go for it in the League Cup. I think they're going to be strong in the league as well. Obviously beat Wrexham on the opening day. Southampton 2-0, 3-0 Southampton. Oxford United against Colchester United's the next one, 7:45. Oxford will probably see off Colchester, no problem, I would have thought. God, it's so hot today, isn't it? We were in Scotland this time yesterday. We were on the way back from way, way up north, and it just feels so hot being back in Nottingham. And in the 2032 Euros, Kosovo will win, and in the 2034 World Cup, North Korea win. In the 2036 Euros, England win. In the 2038 World Cup, Fiji win. Very likely all of them. Oxford to win 3-1. I was playing football in 41 degree heat. Ouch. Is that 41 degree heat in Turkey, though? I bet it doesn't feel like 41 degree here. We get such humidity here. Like, we can be 25, 26 degrees here, and it feels unbearably hot. Whereas in Europe, you can go and it's 34 degrees and you feel fine. So what's the humidity like over there? Because it's horrendous here. My wife's Italian, and she has family down in southern Italy. And when we go there, it's hot, but it's just so much less humid. I hate the hot weather. Yes, so do I. I can't stand the hot weather. It's the humidity, though, I think. Plymouth against Queen's Park Rangers is the next one. Plymouth have got off to a dreadful start, haven't they? My perfect temperature is 8 to 14 degrees. Yeah, I think you're right, because there's a bit of warmth there, but it's not too cold. Yeah, at the moment I'm having to have so many cold showers. Queen's Park Rangers to win 2-0. Queen's Park Rangers to win 2-1. Yeah, it's hard to see Plymouth recovering from that. Interestingly, in the summer, Plymouth Argyle let Mustafa Bundu go, and he played for Hereford. He's an ex-Hereford player, and I'm still in contact with him. He's gone to Hanover. Haven't spoken to him in a while, though. Football Addict says, I'm going to head off now. Okay, thanks for joining. I'll see you on the next stream on Friday. Safe trip back home and enjoy the rest of your holiday. We've got Portsmouth against Reading as well. 7:45 tomorrow, as well as Salford City against Rotherham. Portsmouth and Rotherham go through for me, I think. Portsmouth to win 2-1, says WLB. 2-0 Pompey, 3-1 Salford. Yeah, I just casually said Rotherham to win there. And then it's a trickier game than it first looks. We've then got Stoke City against Walsall, which is a bit of a Midlands derby, and Tranmere Rovers against Burton Albion. I think Stoke are going to have a difficult season, but I think they'll probably beat Walsall in the Carabao Cup. I think Burton will probably beat Tranmere as well. We've got Watford against Norwich. 1-0 Stoke. WLB says 2-1 to Stoke. Footy Prediction says 1-0 to Stoke and 2-0 to Tranmere. Tranmere Burton's a tough one to call, really, with 1 League 2 and 1 League 1. We've got Watford against Norwich, which should be a really good game. I really like the look of Norwich this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they get into the playoffs. I think Norwich have recruited really well. Footy Prediction says 3-1 to Norwich, most likely, unless, of course, they're going to go for the league and they don't really take the League Cup seriously. WLB also says Norwich to win 3-2. West Brom against Derby County. That's a really good tie, that is, for the first round of the Carabao Cup. For me, West Brom to beat Derby, I would say. This microphone likes to fall down my shirt. Both, interestingly, have said Derby to win. Both said Derby to win 2-1 at WLB and Footy Predictions. We then have Wigan Athletic against Notts County. Now, I'd like to see Notts County win that and then get another home tie, because it'd be good to get to a Notts County game, maybe in the Carabao Cup. So Wigan against Notts County, but County will probably lose that. And we got Wrexham against Hull City. Do Wrexham take the Carabao Cup seriously, or do Wrexham field a younger squad? Footy Prediction says 3-3 with Notts winning on penalties. I'd take that. Be good to see them get through. Wrexham to win 3-2. Wrexham to win 2-0. So we're both thinking they're going to take the Carabao Cup seriously. I don't know. Maybe the Championship teams could realistically win the Carabao Cup. The last game of the night is Bromley against Ipswich Town, which is a great tie for Bromley, but I can't really see them. Can anyone really see Bromley beating Ipswich? Not really for me. Ipswich to win that one comfortably, probably 3-0. Okay, footy predictions has just proved me wrong. And there we go. You both proved me wrong. Bromley going to win 2-0. Bromley going to win 1-0. So that's all of the Carabao Cup ties for Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have the UEFA Super Cup final between PSG and Tottenham. Now, PSG looked painfully average when they played Chelsea in the Club World Cup final, when Chelsea won comfortably. But Tottenham haven't really done anything, not anything worth shouting about in the transfer window. Footy prediction says PSG to win 4-1. I think that's a realistic scoreline. I don't think Tottenham are really going to stand much chance. They sort of dawdled with a lot of the transfers. It looked as though they were going to sign Morgan Gibbs-White. They came off with nothing. WLB says PSG to win 3-0. Yeah, they'll be too strong for Tottenham, I think. So, PSG to beat Tottenham. We've got 5 games in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night. I think if I hadn't already travelled back from Scotland this week, I may have looked into going to one of these games, like maybe Huddersfield or Birmingham. We've got Barnsley against Fleetwood at 7:45, alongside Bolton against Sheffield Wednesday. Bolton against Sheffield Wednesday is a really good tie. I think Barnsley should probably beat Fleetwood. Could see Bolton beating Sheffield Wednesday. I know they played well against Leicester at the weekend. Yeah, WLB, Bolton 3, Wednesday 1. It's going to be a long season for Wednesday, isn't it? 4-0 to Barnsley and 2-1 to Sheffield Wednesday. Reasonable shouts. This one has got a bit of importance for me. Cheltenham Town against Exeter City. Now, that is actually one of Exeter's shorter travels up to Cheltenham. Again, it's a fixture I may have looked into had I not already travelled loads. Footy prediction says Exeter to win 3-1. Yeah, they lost to Doncaster on match day 1 due to a penalty that they felt shouldn't have been a penalty. And I think they then looked so good against Blackpool. I think Exeter are going to shock a few people this season. WLB says Cheltenham to win 2-1. Tough one to call again with the Carabao Cup. Huddersfield against Leicester. I could see an upset here. I don't think Leicester are going to be that good this season. I think Huddersfield are probably going to be up there. WLB says Leicester to win 2-0. Footy prediction says 1-0 to Terriers. Close to call. And the last game in the first round of the League Cup is got to be one of the picks of the lot. It's Birmingham City against Sheffield United. And given the way Bristol City took them apart and how positive Birmingham are, I think Birmingham were unfortunate not to beat Ipswich. 2-1 to Birmingham. Yeah, that's fair. Leicester have got a lot of young, talented players. Yeah, they do. They do. And it's a funny one with Leicester. I think the talk of their points deduction has gone a bit quiet. I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen now. WLB says 1-0 to Sheffield United. I'm not sure if Leicester are going to get a points deduction now. I don't really see anything about it now. I don't know if that's passed. If they get a points deduction, it's going to be a difficult season. If they don't, then they might bounce back into the playoffs. But in all honesty, I see both Southampton and Ipswich being stronger than them in the Championship this season. We've got some Europa League qualifiers on Thursday night. Quite a lot of Conference League qualifiers as well. There's so many qualifiers. Yeah, these European competitions, since the format change, is quite difficult. There's a lot of British teams taking part, though. wingers are class. Sheffield United wingers, is that? Or Leicester? So lots of Europa League games. Leicester. Yeah, I mean, they bounced back easily enough last time, didn't they? When they came down before. It would be interesting to see a different set of teams come up and a different set of teams go down. It would be good to see the likes of Leeds, Sunderland, Burnley. Imagine if all three of them stayed up. I think maybe one of them will. Maybe Sunderland and Leeds will battle for it. So we've got a few. Want to see Watford go up. Do you think they can this season? I think it'll be Sheffield United and Southampton automatically. Sheffield United will bounce back from that hammering. And then the playoffs, maybe Norwich. Norwich looking good. Norwich or Ipswich. Imagine Ipswich Norwich in the playoff final. How good would that be? Europa League third qualifying round. Is there how many qualifying rounds are there for the Europa? Is there 3 or 4 for that one? I think Leeds and Sunderland will both stay up. Probably not after their performance against Charlton. I think Sheffield United, Southampton, and Coventry, West Brom. Yeah, that's a good shout. It'd be good to have another Midlands club in the Premier League as well. Yeah, Sheffield United. Sheffield United is still going to be strong, I think. So Watford probably not after the performance against Charlton. Yeah, of course, Charlton got off to a winning start. So how are the British teams doing in Europe and in the Europa League? Are the Red Imps, Lincoln Red Imps, they're from Gibraltar, aren't they? Wolves will probably go down. I think Wolves will be all right. They've lost a few players, though. I think I honestly feel like West Ham are more likely to go down than Wolves. So many qualifying games. There's so many qualifying games. So from Gibraltar. So they're from Gibraltar. They're doing so well to be in the third qualifying round then. Because normally they get hammered by as soon as they play like anyone from any of the bigger nations. So we got, I mean, that's technically, it's not really UK, is it? We've got Conference League qualifiers as well. So many games. We've got. Is there that many British teams taking place? St. Patrick's are away to Besiktas after losing the first leg 4-1. Don't think they're going to come back from that. We've got Dundee United drew 2-2 against Rapid Vienna in the first leg. Dundee United potentially. Yeah, Dundee United, I think that's a great result for them, 2-2 at Rapid Vienna. Is there any further qualifying rounds after this? Like, will they go into another qualifier or will they go directly into the league phase if they win this? Linfield lost 2-1 in Reykjavik against Vikingur. Could easily come back from that. Hibernian beat Partizan away 2-0. Hibernian could go through. Larne lost 3-0 home to Santa Clara, so they've got to overcome a huge deficit. Shamrock Rovers play Balkani. I don't know where they're from. Is there one more qualifying round then? Yeah, it's. I found the qualifying rounds a lot more difficult to follow since they changed the format because there just seems to be so many of them, but it's not like a direct path either. There seems to be like a champions path, and then like a what is it, like a playoff path or something like that. There's I'm going to just go on to Wikipedia now. Is there any games Friday? Yeah, then of course on Friday we got the start of the Premier League season as well as some FA Cup ties. All right, let's have a look at the Champions League then. Champions League. What have we got? 25-26. But the teams like Palace and that are in it. Do Palace have to play a playoff round? Because I'm led to believe, I don't know how accurate this is, because like I said, my knowledge of the qualifying rounds isn't as good as it used to be. It used to be a lot more straightforward. But I don't think anyone qualifies directly for the Conference League, do they? I think they've all got to play at least one qualifying round or playoff round. I might be wrong on that, though. So, format for the Champions League. God, there's lots. What do we think of the new Champions League format, by the way? Yes, so according to Wikipedia, there are 4 qualifying rounds in the Champions League. So there's 3 rounds in a playoff round. Then there's obviously that league phase. It's thrown up quite a lot of interesting fixtures in the league phase because obviously the teams in pot 1 have got to play each other, whereas they wouldn't have done before. It is kind of a strange format with the teams only playing once. So like you could play PSG at home and then you've got home advantage over them and they don't get that home advantage back. So it is an interesting format. Europa League. And can Nottingham Forest win the Europa League? So the Europa League, we have preliminary round, first qualifying round, second qualifying round, third qualifying round. So the Europa League has 4 qualifying rounds and then a playoff round and a group stage. Newcastle took home advantage to another level in 23-24 against PSG, considering we won 4-1. Yeah, I remember that one. Mbappe was shocked, wasn't he? But then it was group phase, though, wasn't it? So you had to play them twice. And because Newcastle got off to such a good start and then still managed to go out in the group phase, I thought they were going to fly through that because it was a really difficult group with, if I remember right, there was Dortmund in it as well. Dortmund, PSG, and was it one of the Milans? Was it AC Milan? Wikipedia might not necessarily be right because it says that there is 48. There's not 48 teams in the Europa League group stage, is there? They haven't gone back to the group stage format for the Europa League. Yeah, Wikipedia might not have that right. Dubious penalty call against Livramento and Mbappe scored it. This is away at PSG. Yeah, I think it was AC Milan as well.